Hi, this is Steve Canfield. We're entering this Christmas season again, and I've realized you're never more like God than when you give. You're never more like Jesus than when you serve. And Christmas is a time for giving and serving. I think the thing that makes that difficult is usually at Christmas gatherings, we're gathered with a bunch of broken people. We live in a broken world, we're all broken, and as a result of that, it makes it difficult sometimes to have the unity that we really desire. Many times the problem is just because we have a different political view or a different theological view or cultural view. What if the gift we focused on this Christmas was the gift of compassion and forgiveness? We're in a meeting this year where God really worked in the heart of a gal. She was facing probably the most difficult season of her life. Her dad had been murdered 20 years ago, and the man who had committed that murder was up for parole. We came to her church, and she wrote on a Facebook post and shared this. She said, 2 nights ago at this conference, Steve did a talk on bitterness. As soon as I saw where the service was headed, I started feeling closed. I quickly texted one of my besties and was like, give me a good excuse to get out of here. In which her response was, I really think you should stay and listen. So I did. As I listened, I heard how bitterness is an atomic bomb, how assuming a right we don't have, how we can spend our lives camped out at hurt corner or choose to turn into freedom of forgiveness highway. Then came the statement that shook my heart. Bitterness is bitterness at God, not people. When I got home that night, I sat in my car for what seemed like forever, just sat there in complete silence as that statement rattled inside the cold parts of my heart. You see, just like last week, I received the letter that I knew was coming, but I was relieved every day it wasn't in the mailbox. The man who took my daddy's life was up for parole, and it was officially scheduled for early March. This time it seemed as the bitterness set in double. This time was evident more than ever. It was spilling over into my daily life. I was experiencing sleepless nights, shortness with the ones I loved the most, and the complete inability to handle the smallest inconvenience without outrageous irritation. But as I thought back over the last 20 years, I remembered how I'd been graciously blessed, even in the midst of the absence of my daddy, starting with a papa who put his own life on hold to raise a little girl that certainly gave him run for his money. How God used my aunt and uncle who saw to it I never missed one of the big moments of my life, and other people in my church. So taking all that into consideration, how could I ever actively choose to be bitter at God when He took a situation that started out as ashes and turned them into beauty? So it quickly became clear what I was to do, what my next step was to be. So 2 days ago, I started praying for the man whose actions changed the course of my family. And I'll continue to do so for however long it takes. I have a long way to go on this journey. However, I know I can be at peace with the decision the parole board has made. I'm so immeasurably thankful for those who've helped me, for the Word of God, and for Life Action Ministries. You've certainly left a mark on this girl's heart. It is well with my soul. And what if that was the comment that we heard Christmas after Christmas, where people would be willing to lay down their hurt and their bitterness? I was thinking this through some time ago, and I've kind of got into a rhythm of poetry, and I jotted down these words. Perhaps the greatest gift this Christmas you can give has no material cost, but will change the way you live. The hurtful things from past that we constantly relive will never fade or ever heal until we let go, until we forgive. So if you want to share a gift that will outlive all the presents you could buy this Christmas, choose to forgive. Merry Christmas.